All right, joining us now, a man who knows a thing or two about economic and tax policy, Committee to Unleash Prosperity, co-founder, the great Steve Moore. Steve, not only do you know a lot about economics and tax plans, you also have, I think, the Kamala decoder. So tell me this. She has a plan to bring prices down. She's going to invest in aspirations and ambitions. What does that mean, Steve?
Great to be with you, Jackie and Sean. And by the way, I have a new book out literally today with my buddy Arthur Laffer called The Trump Economic Miracle. And that does unlock the puzzle of this election. So I want people to go out and get it. But Sean, let's start with this idea of like that she's talking about wealth creation for Americans. Well, how are you going to create wealth if you're going to raise the capital gains tax, raise the dividend tax, raise the tax on realized capital gains? Those are taxes on wealth. So, if you tax something, Sean, you know this, you're in Congress. If you tax something, you get less of it, not more of it. And if I could say one other quick thing, the spokesman for the Kamala Harris campaign that you just played said that, we need to look forward. We have to look forward over the next 4 years. And I happen to agree with that assessment. And I think the thing that Americans should ask when they go to the polls is, do you really want 4 more years of what we've just lived through, Sean? Yeah. I say hell no to that, but every voter has to decide for themselves. But look, if you vote for Kamala Harris, you're going to get 4 more years of what Biden gave us.
I think it's going to be worse, actually, Steve. And what's happening here is she is talking out of both sides of her mouth. She is saying, I'm going to help you create wealth so people vote for her. But ultimately, all she's doing is making government bigger and government more wealthy by these tax and spend policies.
I'm a little kinder to her than you are, I guess, because there's a good case to be made that this is a more radical agenda than what Joe Biden came in with because of the $4 to $5 trillion tax increase. I think that Americans really have to consider whether she knows enough about the economy, knows enough about business. As you know, we talked about this a week or so ago. She doesn't really have any business or economic experience, neither do any of the people who are surrounding her, whereas Trump is a successful businessman. And what makes this election, Jackie, so much different than any election in our lifetime is you really kind of have two incumbents. You have someone who ran for president and won 4 years ago, so he has 4 years of experience, and we have 3.5 years of Biden-Harris experience, and people have to kind of figure out, well, which one worked better for my family? I know how I can speak for my family, Jackie. We did much better when Donald Trump was president.
Yeah.
And I think that's a question that most Americans answer, and they side like you do, Steve. But here's a question for you. What does Vice President Kamala Harris, Senator Bernie Sanders, and Bill Gates all have in common? Well, they all want to raise your taxes, Steve. Watch this.
Yeah, if I was in charge of the tax system, I would have paid a lot more in taxes. I'd have about 1/3 as much money as I have. Now, Bernie would go further. He would basically say that you can never be a billionaire, that at that point the government's going to take away 100%. And I'd be worried that, the distortions and the disincentive would go too far there. Maybe I'm biased, but I would collect a lot more from people like myself in order to reduce the deficit and have a more generous safety net. I think capital gains and ordinary income we should tax at the same rate.
So Steve, the tax code. I don't think there's anything prohibiting Bill Gates from contributing more to the federal coffers. I think he's worth $138 billion. He keeps saying he's giving his money away, but he keeps getting richer. So this is all a mystery to me.
You're right. There's nothing that prohibits someone from paying more taxes than they owe. And there is a kind of hypocrisy of people like Bill Gates who say, I want to pay more taxes, but they do everything just as we all do to pay as little tax as we can. It is important to remember also that the top 1%, of which Bill Gates is one of them, pay half of the income tax. So do we really want a tax system where only 1% of the people pay almost all of the taxes? But I will say this about Bill Gates. I love his idea of reopening 3 Mile Island. That would be great for our energy security. We should use our natural gas, our oil, our coal, yes, and our nuclear power. So I'm going to give him maybe low marks on taxes, but a high mark, Sean, if I may, on energy policy, because he's exactly right. We need an all-in energy policy. And guess who has that? Donald Trump.
Easy grading with you today, Steve. But speaking of energy, let's move on to this. Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman just doesn't understand why people keep talking about Vice President Harris's flip-flop on fracking, despite the fact that it's a major industry in his own state.
Yeah.
It's so strange why we just keep talking about fracking. Now, back in 2020, I said that that might be an issue, but it's not going to be a defining issue. And now in 2024, we're still trying to talk about fracking. And here we are also that it's going to be very close in Pennsylvania, and it's not going to be defined by fracking.
Steve.
Well, Pennsylvania is a shale oil and gas state, and they do a lot of fracking there. I think John Fetterman knows that. And by the way, he did the same thing in his election. He said, oh, I'm not against fracking, even though he had been against it. And Kamala is doing that, too. Just so your viewers know, we get 60 to 70% of our energy now through modern drilling technology, and that includes horizontal drilling and fracking. And that's what created the miracle of America becoming one of the dominant energy countries. I guarantee you, if Trump is elected, we're going to get every drop of oil we can, every ounce of natural gas. We'll use nuclear power. Let's use everything. I mean, why would we want to import oil and gas when we have more of it than anybody else?
Yeah.
Good point. And Kamala will do everything she can to shut down American energy, which, by the way, great jobs and great revenue to the federal coffers to maybe help us address the $35 trillion in debt. That'd be beautiful.
And it's the only thing that will actually bring prices down. Steve, we've discussed this, but we got to move on.
Thank you, Steve Moore. We appreciate it.